Hey, do you suffer from back pain? 80% of us are going to have back pain at some point in our lives. And for golfers, 30 to 40% are going to suffer from back injuries from playing golf, which is going to prevent them from playing and enjoying their golf. And on the pro tours, over half the golfers are going to experience a back injury at some point in time. And just why is that? Well, for the average person, a lot of back problems are kind of recurring mechanical issues that can be prevented by changing some lifestyle patterns. A lot of it is due to our modern lifestyle. For example, poor posture, where you're kind of, standing sloppy, hunched over. This modern lifestyle we have where we're on a desk, right, sitting lots, hunched like this, over the desk, working long periods in a fixed position, prolonged sitting, and not being aware of our posture in terms of how we're standing. I know for me, I'm a professional golfer. I'm not a doctor, so I'm not going to really talk about all the medical side of it and that, but I do know from my experience how it does affect your golf and some of the lifestyle changes that you can make to help prevent back problems and make your golf more fun and your life off the golf course more fun too, because I know all about it. I've had years and years of really bad back pain, and I was able to overcome that. One of the things we use is this thing called the Block Buddy. We use a practice called block therapy. And what this block of wood does is it releases the fascia in your body and helps realign your body, gets you into better postural awareness. We use it by, various positions in the body, lying on it and doing some deep tissue release. And that improves your posture and then lets you move better and improves your mobility and allows you to function a lot better so you can start to deal with some of those back pain issues. Now, what happens with some of those lifestyle issues, your hips start to tighten up, right? The hip flexors starting to tighten up, the hips start to tighten up. You may notice on the golf course in terms of, walking gets a little bit more difficult for prolonged periods of time. Maybe your stride starts to get shorter. And also, too, it's just a lot more difficult to play golf when your hips are tight. And that's a leading cause of back pain for golfers, because what happens when the hips tighten up, they can't rotate and turn. That pelvis can't turn and move the way it should in the golf swing. And what's going to happen is your lower back will start to compensate, the lumbar area. The lower back is meant to be a stable joint in terms of it's meant for primarily bending back and forth. It's not designed for a lot of shearing and turning, and that's where golfers will get a lot of injury, because especially, the hips start to tighten up, so now your back has to compensate and move to accommodate that rotation in the swing, and that's where a lot of injuries occur. So for golfers, we need to be mobile in the hips to help in terms of preventing back injury and soreness and stiffness, and also for helping us move better in our backswing. Good players have a good range of hip mobility, and that allows them to turn and pivot properly in the golf swing. And some simple things we can do to help, give us a little bit more hip mobility and help improve our golf and eliminate some of that recurring back pain is, first of all, just being aware of our posture. For example, I have a habit of standing like this a lot, especially when I'm teaching. I have to catch myself so that when I'm standing properly, my knees are bent, my pelvis is underneath me, and I'm up in a good posture position. I'm tall, so it's pretty easy for me to get sloppy with my posture. So from side view, this is what that's going to look. The pelvis is a lot more level rather than down here. Just standing up and tall and natural, not stiff or anything, just nice and tall and natural. And knees slightly bent and the weight back on the heels. You should be able to wiggle your toes a little bit. That's really good starting position for golf, but it's also just a good standing position for every day, just standing around and that. The other aspect too is just the hip mobility. When we sit, right, we tighten up. So we want to do a few things to help loosen up those hips. So for golfers, a really good warm-up drill is just to do some hip swings. Back and forth like that. I'm just using my club for support. But what we do is we get the leg swinging from the hips. Let me get my chair out of here. Now, we just get the legs swinging from the hips. And that loosens up that whole pelvis area. You can do that 10 to 20 times. And, do it on each side. It's really good for the hips. I'll do it if I've been sitting for prolonged periods. Maybe I'm at my desk or I've been doing something or I've been standing, and I'll just take a break and do some hip swings. Again, just to loosen up the hips. And that's a good warm-up too you can do prior to teeing off or playing golf. Another good warm-up for your hips and a good mobility exercise is just to do some stork turns. So use the club for support. You can use a chair if you want. You know what? Put your hand on the side of your desk. It doesn't matter. We just want to stand here. And I swing my leg across the front here. I hook it behind my knees here. I'll just stand back here so you can see it a little bit better. There I go. I'm trying to just move this hip area and try to stay stationary from up here. And then I'll do the other side. Just like that. If you've got tight hips, you're going to have trouble with that. You're going to get a lot of this movement going on where it's kind of like, oh, I can't move, or you're going to kind of be lunging around. So that just tells you have to work a little bit more on your hip mobility. Another good mobility drill for your hips is just to do some standing leg crosses like that. Again, I'm trying to turn across the opposite side. Get the hips moving. Really helps warm up that hip area and helps prevent stiffness in your hips, and we're going to help prevent some back pain by keeping those hips mobile. And then another good one too is just to do some arching your back and forth, and I'm just trying to move my pelvis back and forth without moving my upper body too much. Again, that gets that lower area, pelvis and hips going. Gets a little bit of more mobility in there. So if you're suffering from back pain or back, kind of general back stiffness, you want to take a look at your posture and then your lifestyle patterns in terms of sitting too much, not moving enough. And use some of these golf mobility drills to help warm yourself up before you play golf, and just do them as breaks during the day to kind of relieve from sitting too much and keep those hips mobile. So I'm Barry from Hole in One Success. Give those a try. Let me know in the comments, and we'll see you again.